Good evening, my Black brothers. Good evening, everybody. And happy Black History Month to you. Yes, it's you know what, it's celebrated traditionally in February, but you like your mama will say, we Black 365 of the year, all day, 24/24. But I am excited, really. I'm so excited. Let me just first introduce myself. I'm Pam Ford, the executive director of New Day Employment Network, and we are the recipient of a Healing Illinois grant. And that grant was awarded to us to partake in multiple discussions on racism. And we have done discussions on everything from implicit biases to racial discrimination and everything in between the last 2 months. So I'm really excited about today's forum because out of all the conversations that we've had, and it's been many, and they've been invaluable conversations for our community. But I'm just so excited and heartfelt touched about tonight's conversation because these conversations are from Black men. You all as Black men, for things that you'll be discussing from your perspective as a man and as a dad. So with that being said, I'm just going to have you all open up the line and just introduce yourselves, and then everybody go back on mute, and then we'll start this discussion, okay? And we'll start with Kenson.
How you all doing? I'm Kenson Shelby, a father, a husband, a son. I'm just here. I'm excited about the conversation, and us as kings, we have to get to a point where we could have these kind of conversations in open forum. So I'm excited about being a part of this tonight.
Thank you. Lil Kenson, as they call you, but you Big Kenson, but Lil Kenson.
How everybody doing? Lil Kenson. My dad, Big Kenson, they call him. I'm a freshman in college. Just here just to learn about, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just learning how it is. Black kings, y'all are the father figures, husbands, is just looking up to y'all and see what I can learn moving forward in my life as being a young man, young Black male in society.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Andre and his son.
Hey, good evening, everybody. So my name is Andre Bradley. I am a parent of two. I'm excited about this conversation that we're going to have tonight, to be able to get the different perspectives of just different dads and us Black dads in America.
Wonderful.
Hi, I'm Amari.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Amari. I'm Bradley. I'm 11 years old, and I'm happy. I'm excited for the conversation we're going to have tonight.
Thank you. Okay, Brad.
Good evening. I'm Brad Price. I want to thank Pam for allowing me to be a part of this. I also want to thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of this as well. Iron sharpens iron, so I'm looking forward to the exchange tonight. I've been a dad for 26 years. Got a 26-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 13-year-old. Been a husband for 30 years, a son for 55 years. So I'm just looking forward to gleaning from you all and also sharing from my perspective. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. Avery.
Hello, guys.
I'm not going to call you your nickname. Everybody I'm just going to call you your birth name.
Okay. Hello, my name is Avery Doors. I'm a father of two. I'm a husband. And I just want to say thank you, Pam, for inviting me to this forum. And I hope that we can share our perspectives of how to be a real man in this world and how to be a real father. And the stereotypes that they they show on TV, they show in public is not what a real man is. We have to stand up and actually pull our young Black men in and actually retrain them and reteach them how to be what a man really truly is. And I'm glad for this forum, and I hope that we can continue this and can mentor more, to start mentoring kids. We need that bad out of it.
Thank you, Avery. Okay, so let's just dive right in. one of the things that was important to me was for us to have, talk about a variety of different things. Um, and it's ironic because not only are you sort of like at the intersection, a Black man and a Black dad, so you're at that intersection, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, your mentors, you name it. It runs the whole gamut of, the different things that you mean to different people. Now, I want to know, first of all, what did you all think of the clip conversations that Black men have with their sons? Just, I would like to hear what you all thoughts were on that, because I think that was a great way to just really just start the conversation. So, whoever wants to go first. Don't everybody say it at once now. I'm just gonna start. Brad. In full disclosure, Brad is a retired police officer. Okay. So just want to let everybody know that. But Brad, what was your thoughts on that?
Well, like you said, Pam, I thought I had a unique perspective in that, I'm a Black man with kids, and I was a police officer for 25 years here in Joliet. My dad was a Chicago cop for 28 years. So the talk, so to speak, was, to me, Black police officers were the role models. It was, him, my dad, his friends, that circle allowed me to have a positive experience with police officers. Even the experiences that I had or encounters that I had as a young person with policemen of any color, they just were positive. And I think a lot of it was because of my my comfort level with them and my belief that, they were there to help me and they were role models. I have found it necessary to talk to my kids about staying safe with the police. I know that officer safety is what's paramount in their thinking. Officer safety is what's paramount in their encounter. The first thing they tell you at the academy is go home to your kids. It's your job to stay safe, to make it home. So I know with my kids, if you can allow a police officer to not feel threatened, policemen use force based on their perception of threat. The use of force, if they can justify that they felt that their life was threatened or that they were in fear of receiving a battery or in fear of being harmed, then they're justified in using that force. So just in like some of the people said in the clip, remove the fear. And the perception is different for all police officers. What I may deem a fear or a threat, another officer may not deem a threat. So it's not the Black experience, the police officer experience is not monolithic. It changes, and you have to equip yourself to go home at the end of the day. Just like they want to go home at the end of the night, you got to want to go home at the end of the night. So everybody should be able to walk away from those encounters, free of being harmed.
Good. Thank you, Brad. Okay. Who else would like to go? Avery.
Okay. When we talk about the relationship between the police and young Black men, I have to have that conversation with my son, to the fact he's in college and he wants to be in law enforcement. So it's a real touchy subject. When I tell somebody that and they look at me like, he really wants to do that, is he crazy? I said, it's a great profession. I said, and we watch a lot of it on TV. We watch a lot of the downfalls and how somebody treats somebody as an officer, how some things escalate. And I tell him, he goes to University of he's at Davenport, Iowa. So he goes to St. Ambrose, which is predominantly white. Like literally white down there. And I tell him, you as a Black man, you have to carry yourself a certain way. They have had some issues on the campus, not while he was there, but a couple of years ago. I said, but that doesn't pertain to you. I said, you are a man. You carry yourself with dignity and pride as a man. You're going to be accepted like that. I said, if policeman that said ask you to do something or you guys are walking, I said just comply. Don't escalate it to a point where you can be harmed. And we have a lot of conversations about that because he wants to go into that field. And I'm not going to stop him from going into that field because that's what he wants to do. Coming up, we were raised to either, go get a good job or some went to college. I tell my boys, my oldest electrical engineer, I want you to do what you want to do, not what you have to do to chase money. So I tell them, I retired from Nicor Gas. It's nothing wrong with the gas company. I don't want to work in there. I want you to do something you want to do. So when it comes to that interaction right there, I just had the conversation with him. I said, look, if you treat the officer with respect, you'll receive respect. I said, now there's going to be some that just not going to treat you with respect anyway, but you have to be the bigger man and look past that. You still have to comply. But having that conversation is really hard now because it seems like it's not so much prevalent up north, what's going on. It's more in the South. That's the way I perceive it. I could be wrong, but still our young Black men have to be aware of their situation, but it also is character, how you carry yourself. It could be, the perception is everything. So if you're looking like, the pants sagging and the whole perception of the thug life, that's maybe the way you're going to be treated. So I tell my son, you carry yourself with pride. There's certain things in my house I don't do. I don't care if his friends are doing it. We just do not allow it, and we start that at a young age. So that's my view of encountering with the police department. There's good and bad. I have a lot of policemen on Joliet Police Force. Madlock is my friend. Marcus Mitchell, brother, was one of my best friends. So, and my son knows them. So I can't tell my son they're bad and these are good. So it has to be the person. I think it's the person. But there needs to be some reform in a sense of how to treat the public. It can't be a double standard there. But that's going to take some time. That's going to take a lot of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Kenson. Did I have you go?
So I'm on mute now. I'm off.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
So, I'm sitting here and we all hitting good points and things like that. But it's a conversation that I think is continuous. My conversation with my son has changed from when he was younger till now, watching him as a teenager and even transitioning into a young man, the piggyback off of what the other gentlemen were talking about. When we were younger, we did have those police officers that were in the community, the Black police officers, participating in the community. And it was more like if you knew a Black police officer when we were younger, they were almost like heroes, to a certain extent. I mean, they wore that badge with kind of an honor, and you kind of felt that way, especially the individual, I'm a little younger than them, so I kind of look at my father as long, that in that tier where that was a profession that was generational. If you had an uncle, a father, a grandfather, it kind of did tear down into a situation where people were proud. But then somewhere around my teens, that's where I started to feel the shift, just the shift in, it wasn't so, we didn't have officer friendly coming to the schools and visiting us, on a weekly basis and things of that nature. I got to start seeing them in high school there for, how can I say, to enforce certain things that wasn't being enforced or, they felt was getting out of control. So they were doing more of policing when I was in high school versus being officer friendly. And then by the time I became a young man, experiencing some of the things that we are seeing now that's more prevalent in the community, became more of a regular thing or fearful, so I guess I don't want to go too, but I watch it shift from a respect thing to a fear thing, just with my personal experiences in that age group. So it has affected me in the sense of, I always share with my son, it's the character. It's all about your character. Be respectful. Present yourself in a way that, at the end of the day is you can't deny, hey, this is a good person, or watch how you talk, to officers, things of that nature. So I mean, it's just one of those things. It is a fear thing. As a father, I definitely don't want to get that call, like, hey, we need you to come down here because XYZ, and it went left. And the situation went left, not because of interaction with another civilian, but because of interaction with law enforcement. So the brothers that's out there, like Bradley and Avery, like, those things are important. At the end of the day, it's big. Is major. So I mean, I struggle with it because I don't want my children to look at officers as bad guys, because majority of them are not. There's a few, at the end of the day, and I do believe, at the end of the day, you practice what you're taught, and that is, everybody want to go home at the end of the night. So I definitely don't, I don't fault. I see both sides. When we get into these discussions, it's always I'm the devil's advocate. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I get it, because it could go. It's some heated conversations that happen. So I mean, I see both sides.
Cool. Thank you so much, Andre.
Yeah. So I do have the talk with my son, and having the talk with my son is more of on the fear side. I do fear him even growing up, and like the video said, it's not a if he has an interaction with the police, it's a win, because it's going to happen. And I fear the fact that my son, he's intelligent. He always wants to be in the know. He's inquisitive. And he's argumentative, and not in a bad way. It's just that he wants to soak in the knowledge, and his rationale is a little differently than maybe what you're putting out there. So that scares me all the time, thinking about it, of him having to grow up and come into contact with the police officer. Because I think now we have to, and I've had horrible run-ins with police officers, and I don't feel like I carry myself as a thug. I don't feel like the perception that I was giving off was that I wanted to be combative or anything like that, or I made them feel threatened. I just think maybe it was the area I was in, and the stereotype. And so when I think of him, I think of when he's pulled over, and God forbid, he's going to want to know why, and that's his rights. And if you're dealing with an officer that has a fragile ego, that can go left quickly. And then how do you, and they're trained to de-escalate. That's what they're paid for. My son wouldn't be trained to de-escalate. Of course, we teach them that, but the officers are trained to de-escalate a situation. But as we've all witnessed and seen, a lot of the officers are, they escalate it, and they don't step back, and they feel attacked, or they feel like their authority is being challenged. When I'm pulled over by an officer, I don't have to cower down, sort of say, like I'm a child. I should be able to ask, why am I being pulled over? Without that officer feeling like, hey, he's being threatened, or it's a challenge of authority. I was pulled over by an officer about 3 weeks ago. And the volume on my radio was too, it wasn't loud. He could hear me, but he pulled me over, and he asked me can you please turn down your radio, after we had already been engaging for a few moments. And so I asked him, I said, well, you can hear me. There was no one else in the car with me. Why do I have to turn down the radio? And instantly, it almost a flashback to me. It made me think of, the incident with, what is her name? Sandra Bland, when she was asked to put out the cigarette. And I feel like that way, it's almost like you want to antagonize me. So that way, once I'm antagonized, and then now I am, to you, you feel like you're threatened or things of that sort. Now you have a reason to use excessive force or, to make me want to step out of my vehicle. So I didn't grow up feeling like the police were bad guys. I didn't. Just participating in dare and great in things and great and those deputies coming in and being instructors for those classes. A lot of them I still have great relationships to this day, but I didn't have the talks with my parents. I didn't have many run-ins. I didn't see my parents being pulled over and being threatened or things of that sort, having bad run-ins with the police officers. So we never had to have the talks. As an adult, I fear for my life. When I'm walking the track and things of that sort in a predominantly white neighborhood, I see a lot of sheriffs there, and I don't know if they meet up to have a meeting or whatever it is. There was a time when I was walking past them that I feared even going into my hoodie pocket to change, to grab my phone, because I didn't want to be the next victim. It's just, feeling that feeling of anxiety, being super uneased, and having to think, am I going to be the next casualty? Am I going to have to call my family and let them know that I'm lying on the ground or, in my car? Like, I am terrified, honestly. I hate running into the police now. And I know we always, all of us get the feeling, oh man, am I going to get a ticket or things of that sort? That's normal, when you're pulled over by the police. Mm-hmm. I get an anxiety of, am I going to make it home? Let me have everything ready for them. As soon as they get to the window, let me hand it to them. I really don't even want to have the interaction. Let's do what we're going to do and allow me to leave.
Thank you, Andre. Let me ask you all this. First of all, take a breath. Take a breath. What does fatherhood mean to each of you? What does fatherhood mean to each of you? Avery?
When I go back to when my first son was born, my oldest son, go back to the movie Roots, when it said, behold, something greater than thyself. Mm-hmm. So once I became a father, it wasn't about me no more. Mm-hmm. It was about me molding this child to the best of my ability with the knowledge that I have from my village and myself to make him a young king. So a lot of things that, and I think that's the problem with a lot of young men now and men our age, that they can't separate. I want the shine and the glory and put the child first. Mm. It's kind of like you've had your day and you'll have another day once the child becomes what the child's supposed to be. Mm. So it's just perfect example. Both my boys played 3 sports all their life since 6th grade. My oldest played baseball, basketball, football. My youngest played football, track, and basketball. So the sacrifice that I had to make financially, running them around, then they would make the all-star team. It was just one after another, but that was a sacrifice I made. So a lot of people would say, "You still driving that same car?" Well, I got like $8,000 invested in this boy just in baseball. But I would have friends say, "Man, I want to do the same thing you doing with your son with mine." I would always ask them, "Are you willing to do the sacrifice I'm doing?" Mm. One thing, you can't have that Mercedes if you're sacrificing the way I'm sacrificing. Mm. So even though I had the job, the ability to buy those things, you still sometimes have to put yourself on hold because it's not about you no more. It's about this child. You brought this child in the world. The child is born knowing nothing. So your behavior, the things that you instill in this child, that's what the child's going to remember. That's the child's going to mimic you. Mm. So that's the way I see it as a father. I have to be an upright man. I can't do wrong in front of him. I can't do something wrong and tell him not to do it. I think that's it's crazy. Mm. So that's the way I see fatherhood, is the way I carry myself is the way he's going to carry himself.
Thank you, Avery.
You're welcome.
And that's why, I, titled this Boys to Men, because like you said, they're born knowing nothing, and then then they're boys, and then eventually they're going to become men, and they're going to mimic what they see, or sometimes what they don't see. Okay, Kenson. And again, the question is, what does it mean to you to be what does it mean to you? Well, what does fatherhood just basically mean to you?
So fatherhood, I mean, in the sense of mentoring, being able to guide and lead. You know, you've known me, you watched me grow all my life, Pam, from, you know, gaga goo to now. And I've had some extraordinary men in my life. And the best thing I could say is, you know, it's about building, you know, building them up and them being better, to kind of piggyback off of Avery, them being better than necessary, you know, like I used to hear the term all the time growing up. You know, your parents want you to be better than you know, like, or the things that I experience them so you don't have to go through them, or providing them the tools to continue to grow. So, you know, the biggest thing is actually just leading and giving them the tools to continue to grow, be a father. And like Avery said, it's sacrifices. You know, it's sacrifices that you gonna make, and you find yourself, like for me, my firstborn, when that happened, I grew up real quick. I was a young father. I had to figure it out. And then when my second born came along, it's like, okay, now that's my son. Now it grew me up to another level. It went from looking for a job and having a job to, okay, I need a career. You know, I need to be able to show my children, you know, you can't chase money. You have to figure out ways to, you know, build and create, because at the end of the day, there's nobody's going to give it to you. You're going to have to go get it. So, I mean, I guess my biggest thing is, you know, is legacy, and understanding when to step aside as a man. Like you said, a lot of individuals in my life that I grew up with are still stuck in a place where they're competing versus raising.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way that we can continue to compete amongst one another or even with our children. We have to raise our children, not be friends, but be fathers. And I mean, I guess that's one of the things I see a lot of now more than ever is, you know, at an older age, we still reaching back and chasing things, not being able to give up this and that. So sacrificing and just continue to raise and be there for them.
Thank you so much. Andre?
Okay, so what I love the title from Boys to Men, because when I had my first child, I was a boy, um, a very, very young boy, 16, and it was almost like, hey, I have to grow up super fast, and I thought at that time, my version of being a man, being a father, is completely different than what it is now. Um, so I think I associate growth, selflessness. They kind of piggyback off of Avery and Kenson, sacrifice. My kids are on an AAU team, so every weekend it's kind of sold up with traveling back and forth to Indiana. It's not my time, and I'm still young, so it's like, do I really want to do this? But I love to see them get out there and do something that they love to do, and that joy. When I speak about my kids, I do get emotional, because I love them. I love them so much. So, seeing them happy and seeing them develop and grow with me as I'm growing into a man. Because I still haven't reached that version of, where I need to be, but I'm constantly growing with them, and we're learning from each other, and learning discipline and learning what it takes to be able to be out into the real world, because there's a world outside of our home for them that they have to be able to go out in and be self-sufficient without dad. I may be a call away, but they have to be able to be out here and operate off of what I have instilled in them. So I thank God that I had a really strong role model in my dad. He taught me about discipline and hard work, and he let me know nothing is going to be given to you. Nothing is going to be given to you. You have a strike. He always told me that you have a strike. 2 strikes, you're a black man. You're a male, you're a black male. those are strikes against you. So you're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to work smarter. He always said, hey, get a career. When you do decide to have kids, he didn't think it would be so young. But, when you do decide to have them, like the young kids say, I don't want my kids to have to get it out the mud. I don't want them to have to start with nothing, and work their way up to something, so by the time they're done, it's, life has passed them by. I want to be able to give them a solid foundation for them to constantly build on that and leave generational wealth. Show them how to earn passive income, without, being physically, just beat up and ailments and things like that. Enjoy what life has to offer, because life has a lot to offer, outside of what we just see. There's a huge world out here. And so I just want my kids to be able to experience that and know that, your environment, your community does not make you who you are. It's, what's in your heart is what makes you who you are. How you treat other people, how you carry yourself, because you will be judged by that. More often than not, because people don't know you when they run into you in a store, you're walking or whatever, so you will be judged by you carry yourself. So legacy, I think of that one, I associate that with fatherhood. I love it. Joy, proud.
Thank you, Andre. Appreciate it. Brad?
Yeah, hands down, fatherhood, the most humbling experience I've ever had. I have three. Cried each time they were born. Delivered. I started kind of late. I had my first kid at 30, and I didn't stop till 42. Well, the last one was at 42, but man, what a gift from God, man. I mean, just really to be given this life and know that you're responsible for leading it, guiding, powering, and pouring into this individual, this person that God has trusted you with to make something, or to put that kid on a path to be productive, a productive member in society, put the kid on a path to fulfill his or her God-given destiny. I think fatherhood is the closest thing you'll get to knowing how God feels, in terms of loving something, in terms of giving everything. I listen to the gentleman here. I mean, we give everything for our kids. So I think it puts us on that. I wouldn't say on God's level, but it's the closest thing that I can think of to, that nurturing, that love, that wanting to provide a positive experience so that they could, so they can in turn provide somebody with a positive experience. So it says just humbling. Always look forward to being a father. That was one of the things I always wanted. I always wanted to be able to give back what I felt that I was given from my dad. Just that you can do it. That can-do attitude. That encouragement, that empowerment, and that love. So humbling, but a tremendous responsibility, and one that I think Black men do embrace. And I don't think we get as much credit as we deserve for embracing that. And it's hard, and it's easy to get discouraged in it. You start getting pulled in a lot of different directions as a husband, as a father, as somebody who has a job, but it's kids are worth the stick-to-itiveness, I should say. They're worth the perseverance. They're worth staying in there, and they deserve it because they didn't ask to be here.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you, Brad. Okay, Lil Kenson. It just sort of put you on the spot, but you know what? What's the biggest lesson, since we're talking about fatherhood, that you can say that your dad has taught you?
Biggest lesson. I would just say knowing my worth as a black male. Uh, Basically not letting people manipulate me, control me. Use my knowledge and what I know to succeed. Uh, Other things he taught me, just like with the whole police situation, taught me, how to know what to do in that type of situation, not to be aggressive, respect the officer. Like everybody wants to just go home safely. Um, he just always basically just told me as like a black male, just know my worth, know my rights, um, and use knowledge and education to be successful. Because that's something that he said the white male or the men in the white suit, they don't want to see you successful. He said, I use that education to get ahead, take this college serious, get ahead of education, be able to not have to work for somebody, be able to work for myself as a black male.
Thank you so much. And I just thought that that's important. So Kenson is telling you that everything that you're talking about, you being about, because your son is giving you back what you've given him by sharing that. And kids don't lie, I mean, adult kids, because they don't have a reason to have to. Okay, Amarian, uh, the let's see, what is the biggest lesson that your dad has taught you? And I know you're much younger, but what is the lessons that your dad has taught you?
My dad has taught me to know your value in life because and always fight like that. School is really important. To know your value in life and that school is really important because we're lucky to be here. So always pay attention to school because if it wasn't for our ancestors, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for them fighting, we wouldn't be able to have the knowledge to be able to be police officers or businessmen or anything. Like we have the power to be whatever we want if we put our mind to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marianne. Whew, the I think that, and as I see the Avery and Brad, because you all are older, we're in the same age bracket. But how good does that make you feel when you hear the younger boys have that to say about their dads? What does that make you all feel like as men? Because our next thing we're going to talk about is talking about mentorship. But what does that make you feel like? Well, you know what? Let me ask you first, Kenson. What does that make you feel like to hear what your son had to say? And then Andre, what does that make you feel like? Just real short, maybe a minute apiece.
Honestly, just all the fussing and all the extra talking and the lengthy conversations didn't fall on deaf ears, and it kind of let you know that, okay, you know what, hey, this is worth it. I had to hold back. I had to put my stone face on. But no, I mean, it's just like they hear it because, children, a lot of times they don't say, hey, dad, you right, or dad, this, that, and the other. But no, so that definitely, it touched me right here.
Thank you. Andre?
Same. Definitely makes me feel proud. Like Kenson said, we do a lot of fussing and things of that sort, but they don't realize that it's for the betterment of them. So I am really super thankful. I thank God that He is retaining the things that we talk about because we have these conversations daily, if not multiple times a day, to the point where they're like, Dad, him and my daughter, like, Dad, okay, enough. But I know it because I'm living it, and they're not. So I just try to shield them and protect them and enlighten them, so they don't have to go through it. So definitely am a proud papa. So
That's good. Thank you. Thank you so much. The the last thing that I want to talk about tonight is the mentorship. Now I just want to say something about Brad really quick. I remember when because I met him when we worked, he was a officer friendly at Gompers, and he just had a way with the kids. I mean, the girls. Look, maybe once or twice, I maybe have seen you may have written up a referral. I mean, but you normally really just didn't have to because it was just that look. But not only that, I think you was, I just remember we were in some, I was in some community doing something and I seen you ride past and you got out the car, you was in your squad car, you got out the car and you had a bat, a baseball glove and a baseball. I think it was a baseball glove and a ball. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he was like, you was about to play ball with the kids in the neighborhood. And I'm like, okay. But that was just something that you do, that you did back then. It wasn't that it was something that anybody told you to do. And I think when I asked you, you said, you know what? It's just my way of just connecting with the kids. He said, because Pam, sometimes they just need to know that somebody care. And you got out there and was it a baseball? Was it a baseball or was it a basketball?
I had a baseball, softball, a bat, a glove,
okay.
a football.
Okay.
I had a, I don't know.
But you did it.
Yeah.
Yes, but you did it. And that was just giving back. That was just giving back for no other reason, just because. And I appreciated that then. And I just wish that people would do more of that now, even with cops, because it's difficult. And you have so many people that, that ride around the neighborhood. And I do see, cops, engaging with kids. It may just be discussions now, I see them just, what kids love for some reason, they have a fascination over the uniform, and they always want to know about everything that's on the uniform. These were the younger kids anyway. And but when we think about mentorship, and they say that I read something and it was very interesting to me because it said, you've heard that saying that birds of a feather flock together. And when it comes to friendships, this statement often holds true. People form friendships with others who are most like them. Is that true? And at what point, which is a good thing, but at what point do we learn to step out of our comfort zone and say, you know what, we have to get out of our comfort zone and we need to connect with people that's not so much like us. And when I say that, I'm not even saying white, Hispanic, Black, the whole nine. And so Avery, one of the biggest things you talked about when we had this discussion was mentorship. And so where do we start with that at? And of course, we can't get through all of that tonight, but what's the significance of it? And I can start with me as a Black woman. I've been mentoring young girls my whole adult life. It's just something I've always done. And it's because it's something that's always been given to me at a time when I didn't even know what a mentor was. It was just something I knew that was needed. But where do you think that we need to start at as far as our community and, and mentorship? And if each of you can talk maybe about a minute or two, and then, I'll let you know what's next. Avery?
I think we start at home first. And a mentorship can expand past your home with actually your kids' friends. I noticed that not my oldest son, but my youngest son, just to say this real quick, from junior high through high school, there was never a man at none of the games. Some of the kids, I never saw their father. But through high school, my son would say, Dad, can such come over? I'd have like 14, 15 basketball players from every level at my house. And they would just look at me and they would call me Unc and things of that nature. I just laughed at it. But I would really talk to them about life. I had one child one time, I was out in the mall, and I got to tell you guys this. This is with my oldest son. And I was the same with my oldest son with his friends. But I couldn't connect with his friends because they did have fathers, sprinkled here and there. I saw this kid in the mall, gold teeth, all the whole 9 yards. He said, Mr. Doors. I haven't seen him since my son was probably 3 years out of high school. And I kind of looked at him because it shocked me because last time I saw him, he was playing basketball. And I was like, whoa, how you doing? And he asked me, how's Douglas doing? I said, Douglas doing fine. He's still in college. He's a junior. And he looked at me, and this is what it bothers me to this day. He said, why weren't you hard on us, Mr. Doors, like you was on Douglas?
Mm.
And I looked at him, and it kind of made me feel like, man, this is one that I let slip through the cracks. And that still plays on me to this day, because I don't know where the child is. I don't know if he's locked up, he's dead. But he looked at, they needed that attention that they weren't given from home. And after that, that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to have to really stay in some of these kids' lives, even past the point of the basketball season. And that's when I started trying to like help with the track program at West and teaching kids how to jump and stuff, and just helping in any kind of way I can. But when he told me that, I never thought they looked at me that way. I just thought I was a dad showing up. You know, if they needed something to eat, we're down at the Pine tournament, I'll buy everybody something to eat. But he was like, why weren't you hard on us like that? And there's a couple of my oldest son's group, they went to prison. And he was probably one of them that had went and got out. And that's when he said that. And I was like, whoa, I never looked at it like that. And after that point, that's when I said, I gotta do something. Even if I just drop one little seed in a kid, just one little saying, and it may just help him for the rest of his life. So that's why I see mentorship. It's beyond our house. It's beyond just seeing a kid in Walmart and he's cussing the cashier out. Hey man, what are you doing? You know, just planting seeds wherever you can. That's why I look at mentorship.
Thank you, Avery. Brad?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's the key piece. Especially when I think about young people. For me, they don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So I mean, I think it's all about building relationships. Being a police officer, I kind of felt I already had a strike against me in that no one knew my heart. They didn't take time to get to know your heart because they saw the uniform. So that's what they was basing their impression or their perception of me. So I had to show people that I'm about building bridges. I want to build bridges. I want to build relationships, not build walls. To me, being a man, being a Black man, being a police officer, being a father, I mean, a man is the ultimate role model in my eyes. And we have to continue to pour because people, they're looking for it. They want it. One of the simple thing, I mean, it's just some things that you're passionate about. You just share those things. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the richest, most talented. I mean, just sharing something that you're passionate about. Every morning at Gompers, kids would come into school, and I make sure I say hello. I make sure everybody got a hello. Everybody that walked past me coming into that door got a hello. And you could look in their faces and tell that was the first, good thing that they had heard all day. People have different situations. Maybe they got up late, mom yelling, cussing, and they just needed to. You don't need to go to school with that. You need to be uplifted. So it was a little thing, but I saw that that's something I can do. I mean, I can be kind. I can show compassion. I can want for this kid what I would want for my own kids. And I think that's the key. And it's something that continues throughout life. I had a 36-year-old former student that I talked to recently, and they were telling me about the need to have a mentor now for the particular position that they were seeking. So, I mean, it's something that we always can do. We should either be pulling somebody up, as a mentor, or reaching to somebody as a mentee. So, so just doing what you can do, sharing your gifts, your passions with people.
Amen. Kenson?
I know we're pressing for time. I'm a like Brother Doris. It's something as simple as like I used to see that brother at every track meet, at every football game, because our sons was, kind of, right there. I think my son a year or two right under his youngest. And I mean, you coming in from work, it's one of those things where you stressing, But then you get there and you see another brother there, and you like, okay, you know what? He know my pain, at the end of the day. But and then what he's saying is so true as far as being able to drop those nuggets and those children gravitate towards you. One of the tools I use is mentoring is football. I've been coaching youth football for a long time, and it's never been about the wins or losses. I never look at it. I look at it as a win is if that kid come into the season not knowing nothing about football, leaving knowing something about football. But more so than anything, I was an AD for a few years and things like that. One thing I always told the coaches that was coming in, that this is bigger than football. At the end of the day, we are the consistency in a lot of these young men's life. At the end of the day, we're going to be the discipline that they may not receive. We're going to be the vision of a male figure to them. That's just what it is. So, understand we not just coming in being coaches and the objective is to get wins. A lot of these life lessons come out of, whatever you participate in. If you take on that role as a coach, you become a mentor. And seeing a lot of kids from the age of 7, 8, 9 years old till now, like Brother Bradley and Doris was saying, you as grown men, some of them you touch and it's like, wow, man, that kid, he made a complete 160 or 360. And some it really hurt you because you'd be like, what else could I have done? But dropping the nuggets, at the end of the day, we can't die with them. It's just like money. We can't take our money with us. So any nuggets that we gain as older men, we drop them and pass them on. I've seen individuals, they coach, they mentor, they done it, and they just drop nuggets. My grandfather, it was so many things that he shared with me, and I was 13, between the age of 13 and 16. Though some of the things that he shared with me, I did not understand at that age, couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why is he telling me this? But as I matured and grew into my own, I'm like, man, it didn't hit me till maybe 28, 30. But at the end of the day, I understood what he was sharing with me and why. So, I guess, for us, it's just time. At the end of the day, taking the time.
Man. Thank you, Kenson. Andre?
Yeah, so I piggyback off of somebody, I can't remember who said it, but just starting at home, definitely starting at home, being the role model for my son. So that way, when he is out with his cousins, some cousins who don't have the luxury of having male role models at home or friends, he is able to teach them the lessons that he's learned. Because what I have realized, even through some of my female cousins who children's fathers are not present, the kids love to come over here. And at one point, I couldn't figure out, like, why do they want to come over here? I'm mean, I'm stern, I'm strict. I run it like when they're in here, I run it like the army or something. And what I started realizing is because they don't have that male role model at home, they want that. And so when they come here, they want to hear me, tell them to do this or not do this, and just constantly, pour the nuggets, pouring information. Even with my son, like I said, I know he'll be like, Dad, okay, enough. But I'm constantly teaching them things, and I'm, like I said, I'm learning things myself, and I'm unlearning things that I learned that were unhealthy and toxic. And I'm learning those things, and I'm growing with them, and I'm saying, hey, no, you do it like this, or you do this because of this, or you don't do this because of this. Just constantly teaching. Never feeling like you know everything, because once you feel like you know everything, you can never become you're never the student of anything. So just constantly learning myself while teaching him. And like I said, I love to inspire, I love to encourage, so I do it with all of the kids. I'm always telling them some type of positive quote, or leaving some positive message with them, because I feel like it starts with the self-love first. When you can love yourself, It's a reflection of how you love other people, how you treat other people, you know, how you receive things from other people. Because a lot of times, if you don't love yourself, you know, you're beating yourself up. It's an internal battle. You know, even listening to someone who has knowledge, and they're trying to instill it, and you don't want to hear it because you have those own internal, you know, battles that you're fighting. So when you can, you know, fall madly in love with who you are, you know, the person you are now, you know, and constantly be looking at the person you want to become, you know, we're able to kind of change, start with one person and just make it a triple effect.
Wonderful. Okay, Lil Kenson, a quick question. The For you, what has your dad taught you about friendships?
Friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, I'd say the biggest thing would be to surround myself around people that's not lower than my level, but like people that's not going to lower me down, I guess, lower me down from where I'm at as a person, or just people that's not don't have good I'm trying to get the word, good vibes. Um, just they don't have good thoughts, they don't have good deeds. They not really looking to do good things in life. He's always just told me around surround myself around people that want to see me be successful, and they also want to be successful as well, and that they don't want to use me to get they're successful, but they want to like keep me down. Uh, but it's around like he always just told me to basically surround myself around people that want to help see me grow, but they also want to grow as well. They want to have us push each other to both be successful in life.
Wonderful. Okay, Amarian, the even like, with you as a much younger child, but you know what has your father taught you about, just friends in general?
My dad has taught me that all everybody does not want to, like, they don't want to see you succeed. Some people want to see you fail because, like, they they're mentally messed up, and you always hang around the crowd that's kind of like you, who have like who have who
Like
wants to,
interest,
yeah,
same mindsets.
who wants to grow like you. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, good. The,
Just
Wow.
wow. And
what?
just listening, just listening to, because I always watch the faces, because this is out of the mouth of babes. The truth comes out, and that's important. And if you all get like 10 more minutes, I just want to ask you all about how important are friendships between men. With women, we're gonna have a ride or die. That's just who we are. But how important are establishing good friendships, and what do you look for in a friend? And do you have friends that you've been with, for years has been your friend? Because that's a lot of problem. And just, we talk about mentorship, Avery and Kenson and, Brad and Andre. A lot of it is they don't have people, a lot of young men don't have other men to connect with. But when you look at becoming a mentor, it's like, and they ask you about friendships, what do you tell them? Do you have positive, friendships in your life? You know, um, do you have other friends that you go to, when you need to seek out advice? Because I think that is so invaluable. And I just wanted to ask that because I just think that's just paramount to everything. Because you can't be a mentor if you don't at least have some friends that you can speak with, somebody that's going to tell you your truth, even when you don't want to hear the truth and you love them anyway. So that's the one thing I just want to get that in here real quick. And Avery, I'll start with you.
I think in order to have well, I do have a couple of childhood friends that I still hang around, but it came a point where you have to disconnect with some people because of their lifestyle.
Mhm.
And some of them are stuck in the same situation. They can talk about what, sitting on my porch on Joliet Street back in like 1982. And I can't even reminisce. I can't even think of, okay, yeah, I guess we did that. But the friends that I have now are on different levels. We're all on the same level as far as our achievements in life. But one friend I may be able to talk to about life. Another friend may be able to talk to about finance. So each friend I can't talk the same way. It may disturb one friend where it doesn't disturb the other friend, but we're all real close. When I tell my son, my uncle told me, he said, you're going to start off with a lot of male friends, a lot of friends. He says, as a man gets older, his friends dwindle down. He said, you may pass, before you pass, you may only have 3 good friends, but you started with 20. And like you said, Pam, women are different. Women can, like, I'm not knocking women, but it's like different friends. They make friends at work, and we're not like that. We'll go to work and work with somebody, but we might not bring that person home. But I kind of stick with those that I grew up with, the couple that we had nothing to offer. So when we saw the growth within ourselves, we appreciate each other more. So at a 53, it's different with the friendship thing with me. With my sons, I always tell them I'm your father first, I'm your friend second. And that's how I've always ran my house. And I tell them to find friends that are on the same level as you, just like younger Kinson said, that's on the same level with the same path. You have to do that. That is most important with kids. If you see a kid that's not doing good, leave them alone. You don't have to dislike them, just leave them, just put them to the wayside. But friendship is very important, very important. I cherish the couple of friends that I have now. I cherish them.
Appreciate that. Brad.
So, as a young person, the advice I would give a young person to make sure that your friends are seeking to do the things that you want to do. I mean, like I say, find like-minded friends. If you want to go to college, then you probably want to hang out with other kids who are looking to go to college, not kids that want to get high or kids that don't want to go to college or kids that don't want to succeed. There's a lot of pressure on young Black men in education, in my opinion. A lot of times, the teachers don't expect much out of them. Sometimes their peers don't expect much out of them, and a lot of guys that got a lot of good stuff in them, got a lot of go in them. If it's not being pulled out of them, then they don't give it. So hang around with people that are going to pull the best out of you. People that want to see you succeed. So that would be my advice to younger people. I mean, it only take one mistake as a young person, jump in one car with the wrong person, and the path that you were trying to take, you get derailed. You're going other way. So keep those goals in mind, but then keep the steps. What does it take to be what I want to be? Those are the things that I need to be doing. Those are the people that I need to be hanging out with. I'm a 50-year-old as well, so the circle get tighter. But my college friends still my best friends. I grew up in a 2-flat apartment building, so I had we lived on the first floor. My cousin, my aunt lived on the bottom. Aunt and her kids lived in the basement. My aunt and her kids lived upstairs. So, my brothers, sisters, and cousins are my friends and have been lifelong friends. So, just people that love you, people that want to see you succeed, people that are doing the things that you want to do.
Thank you, Brad. Kenson? Can't hear you. You're on mute.
I just had this conversation. So I'm gonna keep it based on the question. But man, I just had this conversation with a couple brothers 2 nights ago. And we were talking about the male bonding, and especially in the Black community. And it got deep. We was on the phone for 2 hours talking about this. But we were raised, like we were brought to, like we was trained to compete. It's systematically You know, you think about it, we're alphas as males. And, you know, you look at back in the day, you know, the stud, he got sold off for. We always competed as males. We never really took the time to embrace as if we could go back into slavery, and I don't want to touch too much into that because this could be a whole nother hour conversation.
Right.
In the fields, I mean, you knew what you had to do. You know what I mean, as a black male, and we competed. Most of the time, we competed against each other to, you know, get the better of whatever they were giving us. Where with what you touched on with the females, you all kind of came together behind the scenes to keep things rolling because you knew we had a bad situation. But the talk on it, you know, from my experience and other just conversations with other people, out of maybe the 10 or 12 youth, you know, kids I knew in childhood that was friends, as we got older, they fell off. And then when we hit junior high, a different group of kids. And as I got older and started to lean towards a profession, grow a family, things of that nature, then those are the individuals that I tend to have more of a bond with. You know, like you said, some people we grew up with, they stuck in the same place. You know, they in quicksand pedaling. So you have to constantly reinvent or reassess your circle of friends, I would say. But in the same token, be willing to drop nuggets, even if you reassess. But I believe friends come in seasons. Some seasons last a lifetime. Some seasons just for a moment, but embrace those seasons. But at the end of the day, it's something that I'm still working on as a male, continuing to open up, and things like this allow us as black males, I believe, to not be so hardened and be able to take in information and things like that and connect. Because like Brother Doris was saying, you do have friends on different levels. You may have that one friend that's with finance, that one friend that at the end of the day, you know what, he has a family as well, you know, or somebody that's in the same career as you, and you're able to just interact. So embrace those situations when they happen, continue to grow, and don't be afraid to share. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that we deal with as men. We look at, if we share too much, it's almost like a sign of weakness. So I feel like if we share, we'll continue to build and grow. I think somebody mentioned in the beginning, iron sharpen iron. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves as black males to continue to sharpen each other, though. So my take on it.
Thank you. Okay, and Andre, you get the last on this.
Okay, yeah. So I am pretty careful on using the word friend, but I do feel like it's super imperative. It's huge to have friends, male friends at that. So I do have a male friend who is like a brother, and it's huge for me because there are times where my lady don't want to hear me crying and complaining about the day all day. That's not what she wants to hear. She wants to see me being strong, being tough. And yeah, she's supportive. And if I needed to come in and, complain about the outside world, she would be all ears. But she looks to me as, the male, the protector, that look. So when I call my guy friend, I can call and say, hey, and even fuss and complain about the house. Fuss and complain about the kids, and he's able to say, hey, he gives me a different perspective, but he's able to listen, and he's like-minded. So a lot of the times, even if I'm feeling it, but I'm so emotionally compromised at the moment, he's able to bring it out and say, hey, this is what it is that you're feeling. And because you're emotionally compromised at the moment, you're unable to articulate that, but let me help you. Get away, get out the house and go back in and, try it again, reintroduce yourself, have a new beginning. So I think it's huge. And we are competitive, but it's a friendly competitive. competitiveness. So we're always constantly pushing each other to, hey, I got a promotion, or I'm up for a promotion, or I think I may, go apply for, this promotion or whatever. And it's like, okay, you know what, if he can do it, I know I can do it. I know it's out there, because it's enough currency for everybody. It's enough positions and, for everybody to come up. So we're not, competitive to where it becomes envious, because there's things that I have that he doesn't, and there's things that he has that I don't. But I definitely know that what's for me is for me, and what's for him is for him. And so we share a lot of information between each other, and sometimes tears. We've had to call each other when we're in tears, and it's like, hey, because God gives us all tear ducts. It's just that women are able to use theirs in society without being judged. And then when it comes to us as males, I can't come in his house and just fall on the ground and just be burst out into tears. Everybody gonna look at me like, whoa, what's going on? Whereas a woman, she can do that in her home. She can do that at work. She can do it on social media. And she's gonna be embraced. She's going to get the pat on the back. Hey, what's going on? How can we talk about it? Us as males, we don't really get that from society. And so a lot of times we do have a lot of emotions that are shut up in us, because a lot of times we're always taught to be, angry. You can be angry, but you're never taught that you can be sad. I tell my son all the time when he's like, oh, I'm mad. And I'm like, so you weren't frustrated? You're not sad? You're not hurt? How is it that you're always angry about a situation? You have to learn to be able to be in touch with your other emotions. And it doesn't make you any less of a man. I think it makes you a stronger male, to be able to be in touch with those feelings and emotions. Because then you're able to connect with your children. You're able to connect with your spouse and things of that sort. Because when your spouse is sad, how do you, if you don't know what it feels like to be sad, or if you want to allow yourself to feel that emotion, how do you connect and bond with them? I've had times where I thought I had friends and come to find out that they really weren't friends. And it made me sad, a little bit of angry, but mostly it made me sad. I was hurt behind it. So I think we just have to be able to, have that bonding time, have males where we know for sure that they're friends, for one, and we know how, whatever we associate with a friendship, and then be open, be honest, be transparent, and more than anything, just kind of be your most authentic self. Be true to you.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I think that we covered quite a bit in this little hour and 15 minutes. It's so much more that's yet to be covered. But at least, you know what, I wanted to at least have the talk, which leads to multiple conversations. So I thank each and every one of you. And one thing that my grandfather always taught me, he said, everybody that go with you can't grow with you. And I've always remembered that. As hard and painful as it is, everybody who go with you can't grow with you. It's seasons. And I appreciate that. So if no one else has anything to say, I'm going to end this session. I appreciate, each and every one of you. And the reason that I had the men invite their sons that was able to come on, because I wanted them to hear this conversation. I wanted them to hear their fathers talking about personal development, because it's so incredibly important. And I appreciate that. So Kenson and Amarian, I appreciate that. And then for the other gentlemen, so please, I'm gonna come at you again. It may be a couple months, but I'm coming back at you. So if nothing else is left to be said, let me just thank you all again for showing up. I put the clarion call out there and you showed up. As hard as it may be, we didn't know what the conversation was going to look like. I just knew I knew what I had in my head. And I am pleased with the results, because I know with men, it's so hard just to get emotions out and just talk honestly. especially what you bring to the table. And I am so proud. I am so proud of you, Avery. I'm proud of you, Brad. I'm proud of you, Kenson. I'm proud of you, little Kenson, for making the dean's list in college for your first semester. Hey, I'm proud of you, Amarion, young, gifted, and Black. I'm proud of you, Andre. I've seen your development over the last year. It's like, man, I just want to say, much love to you, all of you all. So have a wonderful weekend, guys. And I look forward to, having other conversations in the near future. Okay. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.